Are you formerly incarcerated and you want to know how to implement ChatGPT and AI into your life? Stay tuned to this episode. We'll show you how. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the From Setbacks to Success podcast. We got an awesome episode. I'm so excited to deliver this one to you today. This is with my man, my guy, Ty Shane. Ty Shane, what's good, my brother? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on here, Quincy. I love what you're doing and the value that you're providing to, populations that need as much love and support as they can get.
Bro, I appreciate you, man. And as you, man, it's rough out here in the field, man. I mean, for us, just people, Americans, and society, specifically, if you're formerly incarcerated, I mean, the challenges are even more extreme in some cases. How to really create a successful reentry back into society. So with that, we're going to jump right into today's episode, and we're going to talk about ChatGPT, AI. I am so glad to know you, brother, and so glad you have developed the skills and the interest and the knowledge that you're putting together to really navigate in this space, because I think there's a lot of people that don't really understand the real changes that are happening in our society.
Adapt or die.
And not really getting on the front end of these changes that are getting ready to take place, that are taking place, and so that they can actually know how to navigate and be successful in it. And you're going to drop some of that information on our audience today. So again, appreciate it, brother.
Oh yeah. And I want to add, it is the best time in the world to have ever been justice impacted, because with these new technologies come windows of opportunity, and comes the ability and the opportunity to learn how these new technologies function. And while a lot of people have already basically created a track, a profession, they just don't have the time, they don't have the capacity, and they don't have the drive. And so now more than ever, there are infinite possibilities and applications of using AI, ChatGPT, and all these technologies to further enhance your ability to succeed. And so it's an amazing time to be alive. It's exciting.
Let's jump right into it, man. Let's educate the people, man.
All right. Now let me just do a screen share. So this right here is, I'm just gonna go right into the presentation. And so I just want to let you first and foremost that this image right here, that is AI generated. And
wow.
So
okay, good. Wow, that's awesome.
And so that's a quick peek into what AI can do. And that's just where it's at. It's just like with the cell phone. Remember, you used to have to pay 10 cents a text. It was by the minute. Now we got unlimited plans, unlimited text, 5G, and all these advanced capabilities. And so AI is going to be taking the same trajectory in its own form. And it's hitting everything from the medical field to the finance field to robots, precision surgeries. So it's far from over, and it's only beginning. And so I put together this presentation right here just to kind of quickly show the applications in which, when you get out of prison, or you've been in prison and you're in the real world now, and you've been here for a little bit of time, and you're looking for ways to accelerate your career, accelerate different avenues of opportunity. And so right now, you can not only just learn how to wield something, you can jump into industries that previously required like 1, 2, 3, 4 years of experience. And you only need to know how to operate and how to prompt these technologies. And so it's just an absolutely wonderful time to be alive. It's crazy.
Yes, absolutely.
And so when going into AI, my best thing and the way that I look at it is how you go into something is going to impact what you get out of it. And so not only is AI about your inputs, creating the outputs, how you approach it and what you're looking to get out of it is going to help program your schema. And so the things that your brain are looking for as to how you can use these opportunities and these technologies to, create new opportunities for yourself that previously you probably didn't even realize you could do, especially based on your past experiences, your past skill sets. And so that's really important as well. And so as you dive into AI and you're looking for ways to use it and you're learning it, knowing what your goals are, what your passions are, becoming comfortable with your story, because these technologies are going to help you refine and exponentially increase the quality of the what you do digitally, especially, or from planning perspective. And then like, what are your leverages? For example, the way I think about it is someone said, like, if you were a drug dealer and you went to prison for drugs, well, how to sell things, how logistics, supply, all these different things, but they would just apply differently. And so entering the world of AI, understanding your different aptitudes and understanding that your negatives can become positives.
Yes.
And really, really honing in on those things, because you don't know where this journey can take you. And there's just infinite possibilities. And so giving your brain a little bit of priming around that is, I just think that's an important premise for anything around AI, because especially your passions and your goals, you need to know those things. And so going into this, I wanted to preface with that.
Yep.
So you understand, anybody watching understands kind of the mindset to go in with it, the open mindset. And so within ChatGPT, one of the most important, something that's just super helpful and important, it costs $20 for GPT Pro, and it's the best $20 you could spend in a month.
Okay.
So within the plugins, so it doesn't matter what your skill sets are. It doesn't matter what your current aptitudes are. There are plugins within ChatGPT like resume builders, document creators, things that will create a framework around what you're trying to do, or connect you to existing platforms to streamline those processes. And so knowing that about the plugins is important, because if you're on the free, you probably don't even know that there are plugins. And
yes,
so
that's what I'm on now. So yeah, I'm really, when we kind of talked about that, I really wanted to get a little bit further clarification from you as far as the differences between GPT Pro and just the regular free version.
Yeah, because like even right in there, you can connect your Canva account. And so you can use ChatGPT and Canva. So now you can mix the written technology with the visual technology to streamline, especially for social media. Something that changed my life, even separate from this, is telling my story and feeling heard and feeling valued and building connections with people around my story. So ChatGPT plays a huge role in that, on how to do it and the different strategies behind that. And I'm actually going to show something a little bit later where ChatGPT breaks down like the strategies you can have it create to help you do those things and to help create a presence on social media. So, you can be heard and you can share those experiences, because we all know that the system, even aside from our personal story, the system's not as it's portrayed to be. There's a lot of truth. There's a lot of truth that's hidden. And so
I look forward to you sharing that, man. That's what's up, man. That's the kind of content we're trying to deliver here, man. Hope the people appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so real quick, Quincy, what is your use case for ChatGPT been so far?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. That's what I just kind of lightly, I think this lightly. I'm sure I'm not using all the features available, but I think I downloaded an app called AI Buddy, and then one is Nova. And I found Nova to be so far the one I've been kind of using as a go-to, because I think I'm learning how to be more descriptive in terms of the questions and prompts that I put in, and really trying to, and it has been very effective as far as when you say streamline, man, not having to feel like I got to recreate the wheel in every scenario that I'm trying to create some leverage in. So I'll just use a quick example, but I'm in the process of putting together a separate business. And so with that business, I wanted to come up with some creative ideas to pitch in terms of a sales pitch to sell some advertising and a corporate sponsorship. And so instead of just having to do it all from scratch, essentially, I put in the key terms. This is a car dealership. I'm trying to create a unique sales pitch for this target market of people living in this city and man, it in an instant, man, it's spat out the whole thing, man. And there was just some things I needed to kind of customize to the particular situation, but it was done, bro. Like it was done. Like, I mean, and I sent that email out and they were like, they're ready to schedule a meeting. Like, let's go. So
I love it. I
yeah,
love it.
man. Yeah. So it's just I find that it is, and again, don't even know really how much. I haven't gotten a chance to my full-time job in truck driving. I haven't gotten the opportunity to explore as many different options there are with it. But anyway, that's just my first real use with it.
Well, I love it too, because especially how you highlighted that you have your 9 to 5 and you're still doing all these things. You're creating the podcast.
Yeah,
You're
bro.
learning AI, so it's possible. Nobody has any excuses.
That's right. That's right.
Love it. And so one of the things too, so if you haven't used ChatGPT or if you have, something that is kind of it's overlooked is the fact that you can ask ChatGPT to tell you what other sets of data it needs to create the output that you are desiring.
Mm.
So, for example, like you always want to give ChatGPT a persona. When you have ChatGPT Pro, you can pre-create different personas for it. So, like, I want you to act as an expert social media manager. I want you to act as an expert. So, in this case, is resume writer. And so, getting a job's hard. Being able to put past experiences into a format that doesn't sound so like prisony, or it helps fluff it up, yet still shows the aptitudes and the different skills that you might have that employers will find valuable. There's soft skills and there are hard skills. And so both make an impact in the workforce, especially when it comes to like working with teams, working with other people, and having that, ability to collaborate and be a productive member of a team and not a detriment.
So just quickly to just kind of summarize that, sounds like you're saying you a formerly incarcerated male or woman, man or female, could use ChatGPT to tailor a resume that's professional, that may account for the lack of actual real world work experiences, using their prison work experiences in a creative and unique way to show that, hey, maybe I haven't been out really just like working all of these jobs and developing these skills, but I did develop some skills while in prison doing these things. And it'll put all that together in a professional way that will optimize your chances of employment opportunities when you get out. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's dope, man. That is dope. Yeah.
Well, and just like with everything, like when you're going through
Mhm.
these processes, like prompting is never like a one and done a process. It is a compounding process.
Mhm.
And so like for example, in the little video I have playing right here right now, I told it to ask me what I needed to give in order for it to reach the objective. And I made sure it knew that I just got out of prison. Whatever your specific circumstances, the more context you give it, and especially when you end it with, so in this one, I put ask each one at a time with a preface of which questions you'll be asking. Use the most applicable tone and persona for this task as you see it.
Mhm.
So like beginner especially, I would give it the reins as much as possible for tone. And so what I put, your goal is to identify skills and past experiences to effectively portray not only hard skills, but soft skills. Use the non-traditional resume format with best practices. And so if you haven't had a clean work history of going directly from this company to this company to this company, from my experience, you want to use the non-traditional format so you can still highlight these other experiences and these other skill sets without necessarily focusing just on the huge gaps that you might have. And so giving it the information, giving it the format, you can even ask it if you didn't even know that there was a non-traditional resume format, you can ask it what is the best option for creating this resume. And so as anyone watching this were to dive into how ChatGPT functions, if you don't know, ask it. and it will tell you what else it needs. It will ask more questions, and that way you don't have to come into it knowing everything or feel intimidated because you're like, I don't know how to use this.
Wow.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to be able to get what I need. Well, it will tell you what it needs.
Man, that is awesome, man. That is so dynamic there. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that and breaking that down. I hope I'm sure someone's watching this is going to take this and just explode. Great.
Whoops. Well, and if you saw in there too, I had it list out because I wanted to understand what it was going to ask me before it asked me. And so I told it, hey, let me know which questions you're going to answer, you're going to ask, and then ask them. And it showed that it was asking for inside facility experience, and then separate outside.
Oh, wow.
Just important emphasis for anyone. This is separate from this on resume is so. When I was in college and I had to do a resume to go do an internship in Washington, D.C., I was thinking like, how am I going to get accepted for this? Like, I don't have any experience. I don't have this academic history. Like, I just look like I won't stand out. And so basically the advisors that helped me at my university, they took the non-traditional and they're like,
Mhm.
hey, well, what did you do in prison? What have you done outside of prison? And so that's just important too to understand for anybody watching this, that you have far more value than maybe the traditional framework of what a resume is. And so don't undersell yourself. You have those experiences and you have those soft and hard skill sets.
That's big, bro. That's big, man. Yeah. And because so many, you can be so hard in get caught in a defeatist attitude that there's nothing that you can really offer to society. That I'm aware of that mindset because I've actually lived through it. But a lot of the things that you can develop, I'm not saying you will develop just from your incarceration. There are things that you can develop there that have real value in society. And I'll just start by saying at least one of these things, that if you could find a way to develop a routine and a schedule while you were in prison, and you could stick to that routine regardless what was going on, you were going to be up at 4:30 when they pop the doors, and you're going to make sure that you have a scheduled routine throughout the day. And I realized those things, that type of routine and consistency that you're able to develop, absolutely can apply in the real world, where people have problems showing up to work, have problems not being consistent and knowing, having what we would call, or at least I would call, most people call, a real work ethic. So just showing up out here nowadays can give you opportunities beyond, your incarceration or what your record is. So I definitely agree with that, bro.
Well, and I'm curious too, while you brought it up, how did that impact your transition, having that discipline?
Like I said, man, I for me, because I dabble in the entrepreneur world, and I actually have a job, right? Because I know at some point maybe you have to not necessarily choose, but it works for me. My entrepreneurial side gives me some side income, and it allows my creativity to that creative aspect of me to flourish. I have a outlet, I would say, for that. My job pays my bills, and I need also to feel fulfilled, to have some level of consistency. When I don't have consistency, I have uncertainty as far as how I'm going to pay my rent or pay my mortgage or whatever those things are, car note. That tends to affect me in a way that I haven't really been able to deal with in a completely healthy way, to be honest with you. So to have both has put me in a place where I feel a certain level of balance with that. And in order to have both going on, you got to be able to get up out of the bed. You got to be able to be, I would say, particularly in work environments, you got to have some social skills and ability to, and every work environment is different, so it's hard to really explain that, but you got to have social skills to be able to accept that there are going to be most cases where there's an authority. Some people do not respect any level of authority, But if that authority is being used in a healthy and non-disrespectful way, then I think that you have to be able to accept that to be in a workplace. And again, you got to be able to get along or have some level of camaraderie or understanding between your co-workers as well. So, but anyway, man, that's kind of the things. Sorry to go so
Oh, I
deep
love
into
it.
that. Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of value right there. Realizes what they bring to the table and how being incarcerated
Mm-hmm.
can positively impact their post-incarceration experience, because it doesn't feel that way, but there just might be a missing perspective that I think you just totally shed light on.
Okay, appreciate it, bro.
So your own personal analysis. I mean, my writing hasn't always been the best, especially pre-college. I can't say I was the best writer. And so for anyone who gets out, I mean, you can basically now, you can have ChatGPT quote unquote write something and use that as a framework, or you can go in and modify like 20% of it, go add in another 20%. But most importantly, whether you're creating social media content, whether you're writing a document for something, you're writing your book, you're writing your memoir, ChatGPT is absolutely amazing at analyzing content. It can dissect, and then it can suggest improvements. And you can also do comparative analysis as well. And so you can have it take on different types of frameworks. You can feed it content. You can, if an author or someone who wrote a book or some sort of framework, you can have it compare and contrast your work with that work to help you kind of see the areas that you can improve on. And for me, I feel that doing it that way helps you see more where you're at. And
Right.
so relying 100% on ChatGPT, it has a ton of values in a lot of different ways. But if we are creating something that is like a testament of ourselves, is a reflection of who we are, is some sort of reflection of ourselves, knowing where we're at and how we can improve is like the best way to go about it, because now our starting point is actually improving. And so ChatGPT is basically like your own personal assistant who can analyze and provide those areas of improvement. And so you give it a persona, and so you have it be an expert analyzer, an expert author, or a copywriter, book writer, ghostwriter, whatever it is you want it to be. You can go as specific within that as you would like. And so a lot of people even incarcerated want to tell their stories, and they
Yes.
don't know where to start. They don't know how to write. And so ChatGPT can literally be that bridge between getting your story out there, as well psychologically starts to make you feel empowered.
Yes.
And so that's just a really important use case I wanted to make sure that I included in this,
Yeah.
because so many empowering, inspirational, motivational stories of overcoming adversity, not accepting what is as what will be. And so most people, I'd say all of us who have been incarcerated, we have a story. And that story has value, not just to ourselves through telling other people, but it changes lives. And so social media, creating a book, you want to do a speech, you want to go
Yes.
talk in front of people. Well, ChatGPT can be that assistant that you don't have to pay $2,000 to have help you write a speech.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do a presentation, for example, this entire little slideshow, I use an AI software. And so I still had to write the things, but it just simplified and streamlined the process of the templates, of uploading stuff, and it just made it easier. And so the thing with AI is it makes things simpler, and it removes the barrier of entry into using different tools. So if you've been locked up for 20 years, you're not going to even know really how to use a computer. Actually, you're probably not going to unless you were exposed to it while incarcerated. And so beyond ChatGPT, AI will bridge that gap for you. And it will, if you are familiar with, its capabilities, and you just dive in with an open mind into the AI world, you're going
Right.
to find a lot of skill sets basically at the tip of your finger. And just a matter of using it, exploring it, watching a few videos, YouTube, for all sorts of different things. Like I'll go into one of the next slides too. Like you can get educated how to use ChatGPT. How do language learning models work? And what's crazy is just by learning, you are actually adding value to you as a person in the professional world, because a lot of people don't have the time, the capacity, or the interest to learn these things. And so it's such a helping yourself can really help yourself in indirect ways when it comes to your value in the workforce. And so I imagine men and women who have been incarcerated for 20, 30, 15, 10 years, whether it's inside or post release, being able to learn how language learning models work, learning how to prompt. And that already right there, within 3 to 6 months, you have more value than a lot of people already in the workforce, because you're in line with the future. They're still running on the past. And so now you have a starting point that is evolving and becoming more and more relevant every year. And so,
yeah. I was gonna say, man, man, you just dropped a whole lot there, bro. And I just I want to say, man, I knew we hadn't discussed it, but I figured you did, and you just confirmed that you used AI for this entire presentation. I just wanted to make sure that was understood, how deep that is that you are actually practicing, implementing what you're preaching. So, and being formerly incarcerated, you can learn how to use that. There was another point in there, and you talked about for men and women, particularly with the longer stretches, the 8 to 15, 20, 30 years stretches of time served. I know for me, just quick personal thing, just being gone 5 years, I felt even after 5 years, there was these leaps in terms of like social media that took place that I felt like I lost a lot of time. I wasn't really, it took some time to even get synced back, even feeling that I was synced back up to society on some reasonable level. 15 years, 20 years. I mean, it's like, and then at the rate that this world is changing at now, but even any 15 to 20 year block there's going to be a huge gap. Let me just briefly ask you this question. How realistic do you think it is for someone who's been gone that long to be able to get up to speed to what's going on? Because in most prisons, we don't have access to internet. We don't have access to computers. There are guys right now in federal prison, probably, I haven't been there in a while now, but as of 2016, they were still using typewriters or word processor, like the old school correction tape to do their paperwork. How realistic do you think that someone who's done that long of a time period, 15 to 20 years or more, can get back integrated here?
I think it's 100% realistic, without a doubt, like unquestionably realistic. I do know that the older you might be, the greater the barrier gets of learning these new technologies. Because if you've been locked up for 30 years, if you're in your 50s, 60s, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, yet is 1000% possible and very realistic. It just comes down to how you're taught, what you're taught, and I would say that the framework as well of both of those put together. And so, I mean, I see AI, regardless of how long you've been incarcerated, being that bridge to reentry for all levels of age and sentences.
Okay.
And so I 100% think that is possible. And I think a lot of it, though, does start in the mind. And so if you are released and you're released with a mindset that you're just too far behind, that you're not able. So it does need to be premised with some mindset work. And I think that's an important part of it as well, because we are our own worst enemies. And if we tell ourselves we can't do something, if I say, oh, I'm too old to learn this, or I've been out too long of society that I'm just not capable of learning these things, well, then you're probably not going to have that good of a experience. And so I think that it begins with the mind.
Yes.
And then it comes down to being taught and being shown and just having that kind of support. And so, yeah.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate you touching on that.
Yeah, thank you. And so when I was talking about the plugins before, And so learning everything organically without any assistance is 1000% possible. However, if there are tools and resources, so if you have to dig and maybe you get a shovel that's sharper than the standard shovel, you're going to have a little bit easier time digging. And so what I showed in this video, this little clip right here that's going, is I used a plugin like I touched on earlier, and it's called Perfect Prompt.
Okay.
And basically what Perfect Prompt does is you just type in like perfect and then you prompt. And what it will do is it will analyze your prompt and it will optimize it. And so it's just like when you go bowling and you've got your little things on the side, I don't know what they're called.
The
And so
guardrails.
you go into the gutter.
Yeah. Yes. Mm.
And so it's kind of like that with prompting. And
Okay.
so getting into using these technologies doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be everything at once. You don't have to know A to Z. You don't need to know every single best practice. You can use these plugins and tools and resources. And then the next one I think goes into, let me make sure it wasn't, yeah. And the next one I think is, oh yeah, that's Prompt GPT. Yeah, so this, for example, I use, so if I just got out, I want to get on social media. We know that social media is changing lives. It's creating followings where you can share your story, you can spread awareness, you can inspire people, you can create relationships with people that you never met before. And so you can scale and grow these kinds of dynamics at exponential rates. And so, for example, what I used with Perfect Prompt in this example is I said, hey, I just got out of prison. I'm looking to share my story, inspire, and connect with other people. And so obviously the more specific you get, the better it will be. But what it did is it perfected my prompt. It added in the little components that I was missing. And then it came up with an entire strategy from content formats to, I think the first was my pillars, my content pillars. And so it basically, the whole framework of what you would need to execute a social strategy, it put it together for me. And within this as well, you can continue to prompt it for more specific. So like if it's your content pillars, it's like, well, I'm trying to figure out what my content pillars are. What do you need to know from me in order to, further direct me on what to use? So like content pillars, personal stories, educational content, guest features. So it's already talking about collaboration and how to use collaboration, use calls to action, interactive content. And so within each of those, you continue to prompt it for either more information, more understanding, more ideas. And then it comes up with a content calendar, week 1, week 2. And so it can take a lot of that lack of surety and that maybe that, how would I say it? The lack of familiarity that prevents us from taking action sometimes.
Right.
And so it will basically guide and direct. And within this, like I said, you can prompt continuously based on an output. You can refine it, you can redefine it, you can ask it to give you more context. You can ask it, like I could have it write a whole 2-page prompt response based on just content formats if I wanted. And so you can take these outputs as deep as you would like. And so whatever it is that you are desiring to learn or to get guidance on, it will tell you. And so it's important to giving it detail, giving it context, giving it specifics. So if you are you and you are unique, you want it to be as close to you as possible. And so what a lot of people who just start out will do is they'll just do these generic, like write me a social media content strategy on, I don't know, whatever it is. And so that's super generic, it's super vague, and it doesn't provide any context. It's not going to be as personalized for you. And so it's important to remember those things. And so your input affects the output. There's infinite possibilities. Just make sure that you give it the information it needs to give you what you're desiring. And so, yeah, so that's the plugins. That's why the $20 a month is 100% worth it.
Gotcha.
And for anyone who gets out, you got to think of all the lack of information, lack of education, lack of understanding that you might have for traversing interviews. Like if you want to know how to the interview process. You can go and you can find all these different websites that are just going to absolutely overload you with information. Or you can give ChatGPT context about yourself, and then you can ask it to help guide you through an interview process. You can give it all sorts of information that you need. And so there's just a lot of different applications in which using context and using detail can give you personalized strategies, guides, and information. Like there's just no limits.
Got you. Appreciate you breaking that down. And I want to take a moment here to say two things. One, down in the description below, we'll include a link to getting ChatGPT. Basically, it's an app that you can download to your phone. Start with the free version. It will prompt you, I guess, to upgrade to the more advanced version that Ty uses at a subscription plan, monthly plan model. We'll also down below at this point, I want to ask anyone who might be formerly incarcerated or just someone watching this video to talk about your uses or your experiences with ChatGPT and how you've used it to leverage in some cases where you've either gotten more sales in your business, you've used it to enhance maybe some other areas of your life that you would like to just comment on. Or share with, but I would like to ask you at this point down below in the description and comments section that you can drop those for the rest of the community to share and be able to learn and grow with on.
I love it.
All right.
And then this right here, so like in my LinkedIn profile, in my featured section, I have prompt GPT. And so this isn't a unique concept. It's just my own specific rendition of it. And so if you wanted to start a business, and if you wanted to start a side hustle, if you lack business education, so for example, a business degree has less relevance than it's ever had before, because like we can call on some of like the top business moguls ever, and like you can give these chats, like you could have Mark Cuban, Kevin O'Leary, and Grant Cardone all in personified in a chat, breaking down and giving you ideas based on what you're saying, and each one will give its own personified insight, guide, or whatever. Like you can do crazy things with ChatGPT. Like there's a reason a lot of people are suing ChatGPT because it took all their knowledge for them anymore. You don't need to buy their books. You don't need to watch their TV shows. Like you don't need to do all the stuff anymore, because before OpenAI came out, it was scraping everything. It was bypassing paywalls. It just went rogue, and it got all the information that's available. And then it came out. And
that is crazy, man. Wow.
So this is a prompt, like, so within each thread, you can give each thread its own persona. So every time you go into that thread, it already knows who it is, what its goal is, and so you can just continue chatting based on that persona for that thread. And so one of the prompts you use to program that thread is you say, I create different conversation threads for each expert GPT persona. And so now it has basically programmed that entire thread to only be this person, because in most cases you have to keep reprompting it, and it doesn't maintain your original persona. And so it just streamlines that process, so you don't have to keep typing in those things. And so like you are a seasoned business founder and executive with decades of experience in creating, scaling, and managing successful businesses across multiple industries. You have faced numerous challenges, made critical decisions, navigated complex market dynamics, and have an in-depth understanding of business strategy, operations, finance, marketing, and team management. You offer insights with the wisdom of someone who has been there, done that. Bond with actionable advice, deep strategic insights, and practical solutions. The tone should be authoritative, yet supportive and understanding. And then do not start until prompted, and respond with yes if understood. So that way it just primes up the chat to be this business mogul.
Hold on, bro. Are you telling me, because this is what I'm getting from what you're saying, and this is mind blowing. Okay, this is really mind blowing right here. You're saying that you can essentially create the persona of any notable billionaire, multi-billionaire, millionaire, whoever mindset or persona, artificially created persona, using all of the information that is available to them, to AI, from the internet, videos, maybe whatever it's grabbing from.
Yep.
And essentially you're creating an artificial but real, in a sense that they're using their real thoughts and insights, and it, or at least how it's interpreting it, as really becoming an artificial created board or of advisor, an advisor for maybe your business, such similar to what in a corporation would be your board of directors or your board of advisors, or just a business consultant. You are creating an artificial version of that to consult you daily in what you're doing. Is that what you're saying, bro?
Oh yeah. And then you continue to feed it the data from within your business. And so like, if there are certain metrics, if there are certain strategies, if there's everything that you're doing, you feed it and then it will use that. So this is like, you can be generic with it.
Yes.
Or you can keep it up to date. We made X amount of dollars. We sold this much and this much and this much. These are our suppliers. This is the whatever. Like you feed it that
Keep
information.
feeding in the data. Yes.
As specific as possible. And so the more specific you are, the more specific its outputs will be.
Wow.
And so, yeah, 100%. And that's the thing is, if you play trajectory theory, as I like to call it, if you're following, so if you have the free version, you're using 3.5. If you have the paid version, you're using GPT-4. Even just that 6-month update from 3.5 to 4, it literally doubled in ability. So these processes, these strategies are going to get infinitely better. Like there's literally no cap on how good this stuff is going to get. GPT-5 is about to come out within the next like 30, 60 days. And it's going to be way better than the version that I used for this. And then just imagine where GPT 10, 20, 40 is going to be.
That is crazy, man.
And so,
yes, thank you. Yes, bro. Thank you.
And this will come up with all sorts of different things. So for anyone who's considering starting a business, you have a side hustle, say you have, whatever your skill sets are, you can play around with ChatGPT and it will creatively embed ideas into your mind. And so even if you're not ready at that moment, understanding what you possibly could do will help your schema, once again, better understand what to look for. And so there's just a lot of value in, in learning and understanding using ChatGPT.
Yes.
And so, And so this is a prompt. And so I put this on my LinkedIn because it's just something that everybody should have. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're worth 100 million, 1 million. I mean, because you got to think about it. A CEO doesn't do everything. They have a lot of people underneath them. So like, if you can fill those gaps, no matter who you are, why not? And you can make one that's your HR. You can make one that's your finance. You can make one, like you can personify these however you want. You can make a marketing director. You can make your social media strategist. And so you can have so if you have a business, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different personas. So this one would be like my co-founder. So this would be my co-founder. And then I'd have my social media marketing. And then I would have my HR, my finances, whatever the different positions that, especially as a solopreneur, that you might need. You can create all these different AI variations of the people that you would theoretically need to hire. And so it's not perfect. Nothing is perfect in this world. However, that's still a huge gap that's been bridged.
That's right.
So educational resources, doesn't matter what you want to learn, doesn't matter what your starting point is. ChatGPT can also help you discover different educational resources. So like this one right here went pretty deep. It's like talking about SQL, cloud-based. So we know that the future is really heavily cloud-based. And so it's already showing ways to get involved in that wave of the future, learn it for free. And so right down here, I edited it and I added, and I made it so it's prompt engineering courses. And so it doesn't matter where you start, who you are, you can take courses at no cost to you. And so that's just a super huge value add, because we know that education is the number one destroyer of recidivism.
Yes, that's correct.
So learning ChatGPT, AI prompt engineering. There's, what is it? Vanderbilt. I was just looking last night. They have a Coursera ChatGPT prompting course. And so all these different universities, they have them for free online. And so there's just so many resources in that aspect as well, just so you can start to understand.
Yes.
And then most importantly, ChatGPT is not all there is. There's Google Bard, Cloud.ai, ChatGPT. There's another one, Perplexity.ai. Personally, if I wanted to do something that's like a correspondence, I'm speaking to somebody, I want to sound more conversational, I want to sound more personal, I'm always going to use Cloud. If I want something that's more technical, more operational, more strategic, I'm going to use ChatGPT. And so Bard and ChatGPT right now are, they're competing with one another.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's always more than just that. And
Gotcha.
so that's that.
And which one is your go-to out of those three for primarily?
It would be ChatGPT.
Okay.
It'd be ChatGPT.
Gotcha. I got it.
So I don't know. I don't want to take up too much time and be too long.
Okay.
How much time do we have?
Well, we
We're
have
over,
is
huh?
no, I'm good. However long I want to be, I'm free. So not there. You don't have to worry about me. Well, I had one little appointment, but I can push that back. That's not that important. But how much more time do you think that you need to finish?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Go. Let's run it, bro. Yeah, yeah. This is good. This is excellent, bro. Excellent.
So when I got out of prison, this is one thing that I wish I had known.
Okay.
First of all, honest jobs for employment. So they literally only work with employers looking to hire previously incarcerated. So you can immediately find a job pretty quick. Community college.
Big shout out to Harley on that. You want to give him a shout out?
Yeah. Shout out to Harley Blakeman.
That's right. All right.
And so community college, when you get out, either in the halfway house or wherever you are, usually you're not financially secure. The only reason I'm where I am at is because of student loans. And I'm not saying go out, take all these loans out. I'm not trying to like push on debt. What I'm saying is if your chances of going back are greater than your chances of succeeding, what new opportunities are you open to getting new results? And so it just comes down to how bad you don't want to go backwards, and financial stability and security, transportation, housing are huge debilitators sociologically to push you back. And that's done strategically by the system. And so the way that I found, so when I got my motorcycle, how did I get it? Student loans. And I was able to get around, get to work, get to school. Everything was good. And so, and it's education as well. And you don't have to take 6 credits. You don't have to take 6 credits to max out on, student loans. And so,
bro, that's deep. That's a deep, that's a nugget, brother. I want to just, because I've talked to a lot of people about reentry and how do you make it out here, man? How do you get yourself at least in position to be able to be not comfortable, but at least be able to provide your basics, and while having the time to build on something that can move things even further. And in no other discussion other than this discussion that we've had, that you share with me, that the student loan, financial aid being a source of giving you some time to figure some things out. Too many people come out, don't have the support, they get in a bind from jump, start feeling that pressure, and then start making bad moves that will lead it back to you coming right on back on the what they used to call busting a Yui and going 180 and coming right on back 360 right on back to the joint. So I just wanted to highlight that. That was brilliant, brother. Thank you for sharing that, and I hope people get that too.
Oh yeah, that's a huge life hack. And
Yes.
then, as we all know, we read inside, and so reading books. So like something that has opened my mind, for example, so I'm in business, I need to learn how to generate more traffic, get more leads. And so reading books, I got $100 million leads by Alex Hormozy. Mindset, 10x is easier than 2x. And so as we get out, obviously a lot of us had limited access to books. That's another thing about education, is it really emphasizes the importance of the information that we take into our minds. And so reading has been pivotal in my development. And so that's just something that I wish I had been more adamant about, and someone had been like, hey, read, go get into college, get these student loans, do this, don't make life harder on yourself.
Right.
So that was just something that really helped me out and has helped me out, continues to help me out. And then LinkedIn, everybody, I mean, I wish that I had been shown LinkedIn earlier. I made amazing connections. My business is built, it started with LinkedIn, and my network and the tribe of, and especially all the justice impacted, a lot of the nonprofit organizations. And so just the ability to connect with people who've had similar life experiences, whom you can see doing what you're trying to do, and whom you can put yourself out there with, tell your story. And so there's just a lot of value in LinkedIn from a professional standpoint, helps you stand out. If we are if we are the sum of the 5 people we interact with most, like, we should be doing everything we possibly can to change up the people that we associate ourselves with, even from a digital standpoint, as soon as we get out. And so from a professional and a trying to find a job perspective, LinkedIn is not just opportunity, it's community as well.
Yes.
And so that's just something that I wish my fresh out of prison self had known. And so, and then just in the middle is AI. There's so many tools you could break in to video editing. You go become a professional podcast editor, and you don't even need to know how to do anything. You just need to know how to use a tool. Right. And so with AI, there's just so many opportunities. And so it's just a matter of diving in, learning what's out there, and really just deciding, like, what kind of life do you want? How much money do you want to make? But before that, how much are you worth? What is your value? Because you can't make it if you don't believe it.
That's right.
So there's just a lot of power in that as well. And so I just want to share that. And that's all. Thank you for having me.
No, bro, that, man, you're dropping so much, and it's so casually put, but I just want to put so much emphasis that this is a real game plan for getting out and staying out. Like, I just, like I said, I don't know. You just drop it so casually. Like, I mean, this is brilliant, bro. This is like well thought. It shows very much intentionality and strategic level of thinking of what is Ty going to do to make sure that his chances of staying out are greater than going back in. And this just covers so much of that. And I think it's powerful. I just want to recap of the importance, because right behind my right shoulder here, I picked up Alex's book, Mosey's book, $100 million leads. I'm still getting into it, but focusing on a lot of his content, because one thing that I push a lot of personally, and it's on my channel, and I actually have a separate business related to it, but it is the importance of developing your credit. A lot of former incarcerated men and women come out with, they're not even on the radar. Like, they've been gone so long that they actually have to set up new profiles on credit for the credit bureaus, because they've essentially been wiped off the grid because they haven't had credit. So starting that whole process of developing credit, I use that in a similar sense that maybe you're using, like, and it's very likely that it's going to get tight, that you don't feel that temptation to go as much to doing whatever you might have been doing to get the money, get the resources that you need. So with that, I do a lot of just building in that sense. But loans, credit, it is borrowed money at a tax, which is the interest rate. And so transitioning that into actual sales, that is income. That's generating income. You do it effectively in a better and more proficient way. You not only generate revenue, but you generate profit. And profit is really, sales is just not it by itself. So Alex teaches a lot of that. Hopefully I can have him on the podcast, and maybe you could join me on that to talk about some of these issues. But anyway, I just wanted to touch on that because I think you kind of scraped over, but it's brilliant, brother. You're putting it all together. I can see it's calculated in terms of what you're trying to do and what you're doing to make sure that your, again, chances of staying out here in the free world are greater than being back on a yard in a TV room and all that stuff. So anyway, appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no, thank you. I love this.
Yeah. So to wrap things up, man, tell us how anyone watching or listening to the podcast can reach out to you, how you would like for them to reach out to, and what type of services that you provide for people who might be looking to kind of step up their marketing and business marketing skills.
Yeah, so LinkedIn, Ty Shane. I'm going to be the Ty Shane, and I'll be listed in Arizona, but I have 2 emojis. So it's kind of hard to miss when you do a search. I'm probably the only one with 2 emojis in his name. And so LinkedIn, that's my favorite communication source. If anybody got out and wants to connect with me, just comment in on this podcast and I'll be following it. And I would love to chat and provide whatever value I possibly can based on what I know, which is not everything, but just what's worked for me. I'm here to support anything I can do to help somebody. I'd be more than honored to. In terms of business, marketing is my industry and what my business does. We are shifting to AI-driven marketing using technologies such as digitizing yourself for mass media, social media, outreach. And so needing to be in front of a camera is going to be non-existent in about 12 to 24 months. And so we're just aligning. So it's SEO, social media, email marketing, but we're taking all the AI twists and turns that we can to further streamline and, help businesses get out there without having to spend as much time doing so or as much money. And so, yeah, thank you.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. I appreciate you. Much love to you as always, man. And for everyone watching and listening, as always, don't let your setback stop you from and for everyone listening, don't let your setback stop you from your success. And until next time, peace.